All right, hello there. Welcome to your gentle yoga practice. My name is Melaminah, and I will be guiding you through your practice today. If you like to have props on hand, you can do that. If you have yoga bricks, go ahead and grab them. If you don't have bricks, really super thick books is a nice substitute. If you also like to use a yoga strap, you can grab that. And if you don't have a strap, you can use a belt or a dish towel or an old sweater or just anything that can help you kind of lengthen your arms a little bit. This is Gracie. She's one of our yoga mascots. So she'll be in and out of practice, I'm sure. Today, we're going to talk about focusing. So with all of the things that have been going on in the world, it can make it feel like it's practically impossible to focus. Naturally already, even under quote unquote normal circumstances, our brain will have anywhere from 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. A lot of those thoughts are subconscious, so they just sort of pop up and happen to us rather than us like consciously thinking of a thought. We don't really, thoughts just kind of come and go. They flow in, they flow out. Sometimes we consciously think about something, but oftentimes we don't. There's just sort of this running dialogue, this little monkey mind, if you will, that kind of bounces around from tree to tree, from thing to thing, from task to task, from thought to thought. And sometimes that can be disturbing. Sometimes that can be unsettling. Sometimes that can cause us more anxiety and stress in our day. So our practice today is to give us some space from our mind, give us some space from our thoughts. The idea is not necessarily to shut off the thoughts, because like I said, these thoughts come and go kind of on their own. So today the invitation is to just become an observer. Just simply watch the thoughts come and go as if we were lying on our back on the ground, looking up in the sky, just watching the clouds passing by. No attachment, no expectation, no judgment of the thoughts, just simply observing. And today in our practice, we'll go over a couple of neurological tools and energy tools to help kind of focus the mind as well. So let's actually start in a laying down position today. So we'll start on our back, laying down on our spine. If we have a blanket or something, we can move it off to the side for now. Let's just go ahead and come onto our back. We'll bring the feet to the floor about hips width apart. And then from here, let's actually walk the feet about as wide as the mat and just let the knees fall in towards each other. This is known as psoas neutral. So the psoas muscle, if we place our hands on our hip bones and then let the fingers draw down, it's in that hip crease right there. That's our psoas muscle. So this position just helps to bring our hip flexor, psoas muscle, into neutral. And then let's lift the hips up a little bit, scoop the tailbone under, and then lower the hips back down. So that now we've got a nice long spine. There's should be a little bit of a gap in the kind of mid to low back. And then we'll roll the shoulder blades underneath us as well. Let's place one hand on our chest, one hand on our belly, and just start to bring our awareness to the breath. We can soften the eyes. So beginning now, right here at the beginning of our practice, just letting the mind start to drift towards stillness, and know that it's okay if we never quite get there. In practice today, we'll work a bit with the concept of the dristi. Our dristi is a focal point. And for now, let's make the dristi the space between the eyebrows. So taking our eyes, even though they're closed, starting to shift the eyes towards the direction of the space in between the eyebrows. This is our third eye center, our seat of intuition, of intellect, that sixth sense, if you will. And once we've focused a soft focus of the eyes, even though the eyes are closed, on that focal point, that drishti point, let's once again return our awareness to the breath. Enjoying long, full, slow, deep cycles of breath. We'll be here for 2 more cycles, just letting our eyes gently rest on that drishti and our focus gently rest on the breath. Good. On the last cycle of breath, if we'd like, we can blink the eyes open. We'll bring our hands to our sides. And then let's align the knees so that now they're parallel to each other. We'll walk the feet in a little bit more. Let's bring the feet right in alignment with the hips, inviting the knees on top of the ankles. And let's just move the spine a little bit here. We're going to first tilt the pelvis away. So let's just get a little bit of terminology here. As we tilt, we're creating a bigger gap between our back and the floor. So it's like our belly button is moving towards our feet. So we're tilting the pelvis down. And then on our exhale, let's tuck the pelvis. So I'm kind of exaggerating here if you're looking at me. So a tilt would be down towards the floor and a bigger arch in the back. And then as we tuck, it's almost like we're trying to scoop the belly button towards the floor, like towards the spine and then down towards the earth. And you might even feel a gentle push through your feet. So this is a tuck sensation. So tilting towards the feet and then tucking as if we were like scooping towards the chin a little bit. So let's just do that a couple times. We'll inhale and tilt the pelvis and then exhale and tuck the pelvis. One more time. Inhale, tilt the pelvis down towards the feet, and then exhale, feel that gentle squeeze. We might even feel a little bit of engagement of the very low abs here. Good. Let's bring the arms by the sides, palms facing down, rolling the shoulder blades under. Inhale, tilt the pelvis towards the feet. Exhale, tuck the pelvis, and this time start to lift the hips up away from the mat, coming into a bridge. And then on the exhale, we'll roll the spine all the way back down. And then inhale, tilt the pelvis. Exhale, tuck and roll up. Good. So just coming into a little bit of a flowing bridge here. Exhale, release down. Inhale, tilt the pelvis. Exhale, tuck and roll up. Beautiful. So let's, as we're moving, pretend like we are squeezing an imaginary ball between the knees. So letting the knees hug in. The knees won't touch. There's a little bit of space there, but we're not letting the knees fall out. So knees tracking in. A little bit of engagement here on the inner thigh. Getting strong in the lower body as we move our spine here. So staying with the breath, staying with the movement. So that's our focus at this moment. Seeing if we can match breath and movement. Inhale, tilt, exhale, tuck, and roll up. Inhale at the top, exhale, roll down. Good. We'll do 2 more just like this. Inhale, tilt, exhale, tuck and roll up. Inhale at the top, exhale and roll down. Last one. Inhale, tilt the pelvis, exhale, tuck and roll up. Inhale at the top and exhale. Let's roll all the way back down. Good. Hugging the knees in towards the chest. Let's give a little rock from side to side. We can hold behind the knees to support the knee joint. And just rocking gently on the back a little bit. We've worked with the spine in an up and down fashion. Now we'll just rock side to side, give our back a little massage this way as well. And then let's continue to hold behind the left knee. We'll send the right leg long out towards the space in front of us. Let's flex the feet on both legs and then squeeze that left knee up in towards our underarm. As we're squeezing that knee up, let's keep pressing the right leg out and away. So already we're starting to get a little bit of space between the legs here. There's some activity happening. And then let's lengthen the left leg up towards the sky. So here's a great place, if we have one, where we can take a strap around the foot or a dish towel. Let's wrap it around the heel if we're going to use that today. And this is optional. We don't have to have a strap. We can instead just take our hands behind our hamstring, behind our thigh. If we want more, we can start to walk down towards our calf, towards our shin, our ankle. So anywhere that feels good in the back of the leg and that we can keep the shoulders soft and away. Let's point and flex that left foot a couple of times. And then we'll release into a few circles here. So just noticing as we move the sensations in the body, noticing the breath. And if we have any thoughts, we can notice that too. Releasing judgment, releasing expectation. We're here for one more breath. Good. Let's go ahead and bend the knee. We'll hug both knees in towards our chest once again. Let's just give a little rock from side to side. All right, and then we'll extend the left leg out long towards the wall in front of us. Let's hug the right knee in towards the chest. And then actively spreading the toes, pressing through the ball and the heel of both feet. Let's anchor the hips down. So imagining almost like we were wearing a belt, and then that belt line, pressing it down into the floor. So anchoring the hips here as we actively draw that right knee in and up, extending the left foot away. Good. Hopefully, depending on where our body holds tightness, we might feel it in different places. Today, I'm noticing it a bit in my quadricep, so the front of the thigh. I'm noticing a little bit on the inseam, in the inner thighs. And then let's go ahead and extend that right leg towards the ceiling. Continuing to flex the foot as if we were going to walk on the ceiling. So again, if we've got that strap, we can loop it around the heel. Otherwise, we can just hold behind the leg. And then softening the jaw, softening the eyes, softening the shoulders down and away as well. We might notice gentle shaking or muscle fibrillation of the leg. That's totally normal if it's happening for you. And actually, that's a really good thing. Any muscle fibrillation or vibration is stuck stress and tension just naturally leaving the body. So letting that happen if it's happening for you. And then when we're ready, let's point and flex that right foot a couple of times. Doesn't have to be super crazy, just a gentle point, a gentle flex, and then let's move it into a few circles. And we'll reverse and go the second way. So really listening to our bodies today, only doing what feels good in your body. Let's bend both knees, hug the knees in towards the chest, just one more time, gently rocking from side to side. Every time we come to our mat, our body is different. We have different needs. We have different things going on in the body. So just honoring and respecting that today. Let's make some circles with the knees. We'll take them both in an outward circle first. Opening up the hips a little bit, massaging into the low back a little bit as well. And then let's reverse and take those circles towards the inside. So out and then in, just making some circles here. And then let's do some egg beaters. So one leg goes in one direction, the other leg goes the other way. And then we'll reverse and go the opposite direction. Good. Building a little coordination as well. Beautiful job. So a couple of options here. We can hug into a ball and then start to rock and roll our way up into a seated position. Or if we prefer, we can just roll over to one side and help ourselves up into a seated position that way. So let's grab a blanket if we have one. This is optional. If you don't have one or don't want one, that's totally fine. But what we're going to do is let's come to standing on our knees just for a moment, and we'll bring the feet together. So the big toes are touching, the inside of the foot is touching as well. And then we're going to sit back on our heels for a moment. So the reason why I suggested we grab a blanket is because we can help to protect the knee joint a little bit. By putting that blanket underneath us, it helps to sit us up a little bit more, and it takes a lot of stress off of our knee. So if we're seated all the way down, there's a little bit more tension here, a little bit more pull. So if that's uncomfortable, you can slide a blanket underneath there. You can also slide some bricks or books underneath to elevate yourself as well. So let's scoop the tailbone under. So we're sitting up nice and tall with a straight spine, rolling the shoulders back and down. And then notice the ribs here. A lot of times when the tail is scooped under and the shoulders go down, the bottom ribs want to pop out. So let's hug those in gently back and down. And then just for a moment, let's close our eyes again and find that drishti point. So the drishti that we're using right now is right here in the center of our forehead, right in between the eyebrows. So even with the eyes closed, we can send our gaze up towards that direction. Good. Focusing on the breath. Long, smooth inhales, long, slow exhales. And then we're going to do a little neurological tool. I learned this from Deb Erickson. She's a neurological life coach or business coach. And I really like this technique that she taught. So with the eyes closed, let's bring the right hand, it can be either hand, but I'm going to use my right hand right in between the eyebrows. And I'm just using my second and third finger. And just a gentle tap on that space right there. Just gently tapping, doesn't have to be very heavy-handed, just a gentle light tap on that space. Okay, so let's quiet the hand for a moment, and we're going to bring some breath work to this too. Let's take an inhale through the nose. Open mouth exhale. Good, let's do that again. Inhaling through the nose. Open mouth exhale. One more time, inhaling through the nose. Open mouth exhale. Good. Now, let's inhale through the nose. We're going to hold it at the top and then a couple of taps right there on that space in between the eyebrows. And then as you breathe out, just say to yourself, be here now. And then pause and hold your fingers gently to your forehead. And then release. Let's release the hand and just sit for a moment. So this is a great way if you're trying to focus on something and you find your mind wandering all over the place. You might feel like scattered from the inside and you just are having a hard time focusing on the task at hand. This is a great way to call back all of the pieces of you that have been fragmented off throughout the day, calling all of that energy back to be here in this moment right now. Because in this moment is the only space and time where you're able to actually take action on something and actually move things forward. We can't do that in the past. We can't do that in the future. We can only do that now. So let's do 3 more rounds of calling all of us, all bits and pieces of us back to be here now. So we'll close the eyes once again if they've opened. And let's take a cleansing breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Good. Inhaling and hold at the top. And then tapping right there on that space between the eyebrows. On the exhale, saying out loud or silently, be here now. And then hold and release. Good. 2 more rounds just like that. Inhaling through the nose. Open mouth exhale. Inhaling, holding at the top. Tapping. And then exhaling, saying, be here now, and hold. Good. Release and relax. 1 more time, just like that. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling through the mouth. Inhaling to fill up. Hold at the top. Tapping and saying, be here now, and then hold. And release. Good job. Let's also release the legs. Beautiful work. We'll move the blanket off to the side, and let's just go ahead and wake the feet back up. We'll bring the hands underneath the shoulders and just pound the top of our feet a little bit to wake them back up. Good. We can tuck the toes under, and let's just do a little gentle rocking motion here. So hands underneath the shoulders. Let's spread the fingers nice and wide, toes tucked under, and we'll just gently rock back and forth. Just stretching out the top or the bottoms of our feet a little bit. And if we want to stretch out our hands, we can include a little bonus here. Let's flip the fingers so that now they're facing the body. And if that's not doable for you, we can just place the hands out to the sides. And then we'll just gently rock back and forth a little bit. The more we sit back, the deeper the opening, the deeper the stretch in the forearm. Toes are still curled under to get a little stretch of the bottom of the foot as well. So just kind of multitasking here for a moment as we open up the forearms, the insides of our arms, opening up the feet a little bit. Good. Breathing here. And then let's go ahead and rock forward and spin the hands back around. Beautiful work. So knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders, fanning the fingers out nice and wide. Let's curl our back up towards the ceiling, tucking chin towards chest, scooping the tail under for cat pose. And then on an inhale, we'll open the heart, lift the tail as we make our way into cow. Just a couple more times like that, moving the spine around here. And maybe even as we move, we continue to bring our awareness and our attention to that space between the eyebrows today. So making that our drishti point, our internal drishti point. 1 more here, just moving the spine around a little bit. Good, and then let's come to a neutral spine. We can make fists on the floor if our wrists are getting tired, or we can keep our hands flat. But for now, let's just make our way into that neutral spine. We'll extend the right leg back behind us. Let's start with the toes on the floor. Scoop the tailbone under and just breathe into that calf muscle a little bit. We'll keep scooping the tail. So maybe we feel a little bit in the hip flexor area as well. And then either fist or hand on the floor, let's extend the left arm out and start to squeeze skin to muscle, muscle to bone, raising the right foot away from the floor for a spinal balance. So now, where is our drishti point? Right now, our drishti point is somewhere down here on the floor. We've got a nice long spine, fingers spreading, toes spreading as we find this little balance challenge here. And then soft gaze as we find that focal point. Noticing the breath, noticing whatever thoughts might be arising, and again, just watching them come and go without attachment. Good. Let's return our feet, our hand to the floor, our knee to the floor, and we'll find that spinal balance on the second side. So let's extend the left leg back behind us, toes down, scooping the tailbone. Breathing into that calf muscle, maybe just a gentle rocking back and forth, forwards and backwards, just to breathe into that calf a little bit here. Let's keep scooping the tail. Belly button lifting in and up so that we've got a nice long flat back here. And then when we're ready, right arm extends forward, left leg starts to lift up and away. Soft gaze as we find our focal point down on the mat. And then watching whatever thoughts may arise and fall away as if we were watching clouds in the sky. So no attachment, just watching, just noticing, just observing. One more breath here. Good, and then let's return the hand, return the knee down to the mat. We'll widen the knees this time. Let's take the big toes together at the back of our mat, sinking the hips towards the heels as we make our way into child's pose. Resting the forehead on the mat. Arms might be extended if we'd like, or we can bring the arms around the sides of the body to let the shoulders release a little bit, whatever feels good. Option to rock gently from side to side, massaging that space across the forehead. So just giving a little bit more love to that third eye space, our seat of intuition, our inner knowing. And today, our internal focal point, our internal drishti. Let's extend the arms forward if they're not there already. And we're going to crawl the hands as far forward towards the mat as we can possibly get them. Let's come up onto our fingertips, and we'll use the fingertips to gently press the heels down towards our hips towards our heels a little more. So sometimes when we crawl forward, we end up coming away from the heels. Let's see if we can keep the hips sinking towards the heels even as we walk the fingers away. We'll come up onto the fingertips. Let's lift the shoulder blades, lift the elbows, and then release the head towards the floor. So a little bit more of an active child's pose with our forehead down on the mat, still stimulating that third eye chakra, our focal point. Good, and then let's keep the arms as they are. We might even walk them forward a little bit more, and then making our way into puppy pose. So now the hips are lifted, hips right on top of the knees, shoulders lifting, elbows lifting, wrists lifting as we melt the heart towards the floor. Let's keep scooping the tailbone under, keep lifting the bottom ribs. So sometimes what happens is this, the heart goes down, but the tailbone goes up and the ribs crash as well. We want to scoop the tail and lift the ribs and then melt the heart. So breathing into the back of the heart space here. Just for a moment, let's shift our focus, our internal drishti, to the space right behind the shoulder blades. So the back of our heart center. Just noticing what we notice here. We don't often focus on the back of our heart very much. Maybe we even pretend like there's a loving hand gently pressing into our heart, supporting us, saying that I've got your back. Good. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and release. We'll walk the hands back in, the knees back in. And if we've got bricks or books, let's go ahead and grab them. So if you're using books, please make sure that they're super thick. We want to make sure that the book isn't going to buckle underneath our, underneath the weight of us gently pressing onto them. So let's step the left foot forward. We're going to walk the right knee back a little bit. So we want a diagonal line on this back leg. A lot of times when we come into a lunge, we end up straight up and down on the kneecap, but that's really hard on the kneecap. So instead, we want to move the leg back a little bit, come farther forward at the bottom of the femur, and then Roll the shoulders back and down. Left knee right on top of the left ankle as we make our way into a low lunge position. We can have our hands on the bricks. Let's roll the shoulders down, keep scooping the tailbone, and then taking our gaze gently out and away, finding an external drishti point this time. So maybe we're looking at a place on the wall, or maybe our gaze is down towards the earth, but really far out in front of us. A soft gaze, a soft jaw, soft shoulders. Let's go ahead and release the bricks or books if we have them, and we'll shift our hands to our front thigh. Scooping the hips, letting the hips release towards the earth, and then interlacing the hands. Let's extend the first fingers, the index fingers out, taking the arms up overhead, locking the thumbs towards each other. Let's draw the biceps back beside the ears as best we can. And then maybe we start to take our gaze up towards the ceiling a little bit. So now lifting our drishti, our focal point, up towards the sky. We're here for 2 more cycles of breath. Beautiful. Let's release the hands down to the mat, and then we'll take our hips back, lifting the front toes towards the sky for a little bit of a hamstring stretch. Inhaling, lifting the heart center, exhaling, melting the heart down. Let's also melt the shoulders away from the ears. We can bring a little movement to this front leg if we'd like. Just making a rainbow from side to side with the toes. The toes don't have to touch the floor. Good. And then if we're moving, let's find stillness just for a breath or two so that we can notice the sensations that we feel in the body. That's another great way to shift our focus away from the inner chatter of the mind. Without judgment, without expectation, we can bring our awareness more fully to the sensations in the body. And that helps to release and relax the mind a bit. Good, let's come forward. And we're gonna do one more thing on this side. I'm gonna move my books forward a little bit out of the way here. So this next part is a little bit of an opener for the front of the thigh. We've been working with that a little bit already today. So let's bend the back knee. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is all we do today is just bend the back knee. If it's available to us, we can release the right hand back towards the right leg, or we could just do a cross instead and do the left hand. So whichever way feels better today. The left hand is going to be a little bit of a twist. The right hand is going to be a deeper opening. So even if we just pretend like we're reaching back, that's okay too. One more breath here, breathing into the quadricep, the front of the thigh muscle, last breath. Good, let's release. We'll release the foot and let's walk the left foot back and around and make our way into child's pose for a breath. Just noticing, checking in. Maybe we're rocking gently, maybe we're staying in stillness. And then let's take the awareness to the right side of the body and notice what we notice, feel what we feel. And then taking the awareness to the left side of the body, noticing the sensations there. Good. On an inhale, let's go ahead and come up. We're going to sweep the legs out in front of us. And if we've got that strap, let's go ahead and grab the strap. This time, if we have a strap, we're going to loop it around the ball of the foot and activate the feet so that we're spreading into the toes, pressing through the ball and the heel. Let's sit up nice and tall. And then leading with the heart. So let's keep the heart lifted, hinging at the hip crease, exhaling, folding forward. So as if we were going to touch our heart to our toes, our spine stays long and straight as we fold in. Eventually we'll hit a space where it's like a little stop, like a, and once we find that, we'll just hold there for a moment. So there is no destination. There is no place that we need to get to today or in any time we're on our mat. The only thing that we're looking for is sensation. So being able to notice the sensation in the body while we're still able to find a full deep breath. Let's take an inhale, come all the way up, and we'll remove the strap for the time being. Let's make our way back onto our all fours. All right, second side. Let's step the right foot forward in between our hands or bricks. And we'll walk the left knee back a lot. So remember, we don't want to be right up and down on the kneecap. That's hard on the kneecap. So walk it back a little bit, scoop the tail. Let's take the shoulders over the hips and then soften in. So I know it's been a really long quarantine. It's been a really long time that a lot of us have been at home, unable to go to the gym, unable to practice physically with our community. So we might be tighter in areas that maybe weren't an issue for us before. For those of us who have a long-standing practice, you know, we're used to our bodies feeling a certain way. So be kind, be gentle with yourself if you're noticing tightness in areas that you don't normally notice. It's okay. Just breathing there, just feeling it, being with it, rather than trying to get rid of it. Good. So let's release the bricks or books to the floor for a moment, and then we'll bring the hands back up to our thigh. Notice that we might come up when that happens, and then we'll just surrender back in. Interlacing our hands, our second favorite way, releasing the index fingers, thumbs on top of each other, and then let's take the hands up with the biceps beside the ears as best as we can. Sliding the shoulders down the spine. Maybe our drishti this time, our focal point is in front of us on the wall, or maybe we start to take it up towards the sky just a bit for a little bit of a bigger back bend. Good, and then let's release. Beautiful. On the exhale, we'll take the hips back towards the wall behind us, digging the heel into the mat, spreading the toes. Let's check in with this hip too. Sometimes it comes forward. We're just gonna pin that hip back and in. So drawing that hip in towards the midline. And then just noticing how when we change that alignment, where do we feel sensation? If we chose to on the first side, we can make that rainbow with the toes here. Massaging the hip socket a little bit, just rotating the hip in the socket. As we move, let's keep the activity in the foot, and then we'll pause and be still for just a couple of breaths. Teeny tiny micro bend in this knee. So not locking the joint, but a teeny tiny bend. Feel the quadricep lifting in and up so that we can open up the back of the leg. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and release. We'll come forward one more time. And then any option that we did on the first side, let's try to do on this side. So maybe we just bend the knee. Maybe this is it today. I'm already feeling a nice opening in my quadricep just from this action right here. If we need more, maybe we'll take the right hand back and open up into a little twist. So the hand that's on the floor can be flat, or we can come up onto a fist, but let's widen across the collarbones, press up and away, press down into the hand that's on the floor so that the chest can lift up and away. If we really want more, then we'll do same hand, same foot. Maybe we'll take the left hand back for that foot. Maybe we reach, maybe we don't. Last breath wherever we're at. Good, and then let's go ahead and release that leg. We'll walk the right foot over to the side and make our way into child's pose once again. Regrouping, reconnecting with the breath, reconnecting with the body.
Let's even take a cleansing breath here, in through the nose, open mouth exhale, letting it go. Good. We'll inhale and come up once again. Let's make our way into that seated position again. And we're going to grab our strap if we have it. Strap is optional. We don't have to use it. Let's move the flesh away from the sitting bones, and we'll find that forward fold one more time. Just a little counter pose to some of the hip opening and quadricep opening that we've done. So if we have a strap, we can loop it around the bottom of the feet. If we don't have a strap, no problem. We can bring our hands to our legs. Inhale, lengthen. Heart stays lifted, hinging from the hips, folding forward. Eventually in this pose, the idea is to fold the upper body completely flat on the lower body. That may not happen today. That may not happen ever. That's okay. But just having that image of what it would look like in our mind can help guide the body towards that expression, right? So maybe we have our strap, maybe we don't, and we're thinking in our mind's eye that I'm folding my torso on top of my legs. Whether they touch or not doesn't matter. But just holding that image in our mind gives our brain something to focus on, gives our brain something to work towards. And often, really, our brain, if it has that image, it will convince itself that that's what we're doing. Whether the torso and the legs are touching or not, our brain will say to itself, oh yeah, I'm doing that, because we've got that image in our brain. So focusing on that image and then feeling into the body. How does that feel in the body? Where are the sensations? Good. Let's go ahead and release. We'll inhale, lift up. All right. Excellent work. Okay. So let's make our way up to standing. And we've got a couple of options for that. If downward facing dog is in our practice, I would encourage us to go through downward facing dog. If we prefer to just come to standing, please do so in whatever way makes sense and is safe in your body. If we're going through down dog, let's take the hands forward of our shoulders just a little bit, maybe about half a handspan. Widen the fingers, grip the floor with the finger pads. Let's curl the toes under and lift the hips. Good. So if we're going through down dog, we'll stay here just for a breath or two, belly drawing in, nice long flat back. Maybe we're pedaling the feet, releasing the hamstrings a little bit, taking our dog for a walk. And then inhaling, lifting both heels, exhaling, heels towards the earth. Super strong upper body, pressing our heart towards our thighs. And then let's walk our feet towards our hands, as many steps as possible, as needed. Floating the hands to the hips, super strong legs, spreading the toes, pressing the feet into the floor, and then we'll rise up with a nice long flat spine. Good. Beautiful. Excellent work. So let's give ourselves a moment. I know every time I come up to standing, especially if I go through a forward fold like that, I get a little bit dizzy. So if that happens for you, just know that that's normal. That's just how your body is arranged, and just give yourself a moment to come back to equilibrium before moving on. So let's come into mountain pose for a moment. We're going to go through a balancing pose, actually a couple of balancing poses, so that we can practice moving our focal point, our drishti, around. So let's first start in mountain. We'll have a spread of the toes, pressing the feet down, especially under the big toe, under the little toe, and in the heel. And then through the middle of the foot, let's start to feel a lifting feeling drawing up. We'll anchor the tailbone down, bottom ribs in, shoulders back and down. For today, let's face palms forward. Space around the neck, around the ears, lengthening up through the crown of the head. Good. So let's soften the eyes just for a moment and find that internal drishti again. The space in between the eyebrows.
and then we'll blink the eyes open. Beautiful job. So let's come into tree pose. We'll start on the right side. Shifting the weight slightly towards the right foot, let's free the left leg. So notice here that there's a tendency to kind of collapse into this right hip. So let's keep pressing the right foot into the floor, lengthening up through the crown of the head, as if this left leg were inconsequential. Everything else stays the same. We'll turn the knee out, maybe toes on the floor. Maybe this is our pose. If we want more, we can bring the foot below the knee, or maybe bring the foot up above the knee, just not on the knee itself. Let's keep peeling the left knee open, keep pressing the hips forward, anchoring the tailbone down, and then floating hands to heart center. Finding our perfect expression of the pose, let's find that drishti. So maybe we take our gaze out towards the wall in front of us, soft gaze, soft eyes. Or maybe the gaze turns down a little, but the head stays up. So even if I'm looking at the floor, I don't look straight down. I look really far out towards the wall or the floor, far away, maybe like 12 feet away from me. Good. And then let's go ahead and release the foot, release the hands, and maybe we close the eyes for a moment, or maybe they stay open, just noticing, feeling, acknowledging sensation, letting any thoughts just gently glide by. And if the eyes are closed, let's blink them open. We'll shift to the second side. So left leg gets really super strong, pressing into the earth, lifting up through the crown of the head, and let's pick the right foot up. Maybe we rest with the ankle, with the heel on the ankle, or maybe we come below the knee or above. Whatever we did on the first side, let's do so here on this side. And then when we're ready, hands to heart center. Finding our drishti, our focal point. Maybe this time we extend our branches into the sky for a little bit more of a challenge. Can we keep our eyes soft as we look out at that focal point? Good, and then hands back together, releasing the foot back down to the earth. Let's find our mountain pose or samastitihi with our hands together at heart center, whatever feels best. Eyes can be opened or closed for just a breath or two to recenter. Beautiful. Okay, let's blink the eyes open. We're gonna do one more balance challenge. This is gonna be a little bit more challenging. So if we have like the back of a chair or the back of our couch or something available to us, we might consider using that as balance. But let me show you where you're going first, and then you can decide what will be best for you. So we're gonna warm up the hamstrings a little bit more. Let's bring a soft bend to the hamstrings, hands on our hips, long flat spine. So we've been working with this a bit today as well. I'm gonna turn to the side for this one. So soft knees, shoulders down, belly in, rib cage in, breathing, inhaling here, and then exhaling, flat back, just halfway. So the spine is long, the shoulders and the hips are in alignment with each other, and then we'll press to the feet and come back up. And then halfway down, soft knees, pressing to the feet, inhaling back up. Exhaling, soft knees. Good, press to the feet, inhale, coming back up. If we want to add on, we can take the arms out to the sides, helping to strengthen the back a little bit, helping to strengthen the shoulders a little bit, the triceps on the back of the arm, taking the arms out just halfway, and then coming back. Good. Let's do two more in whatever option we've chosen. So this is a flowing airplane pose. Good. And then one more, last one. Beautiful. Okay, excellent. So here's where that chair or back of the couch might come in handy. We're gonna take a deep breath, inhaling. Exhaling, soft knees, making our way into our flat spine. The next step to add on is to sweep the right leg back behind us. So here's a great place. If I've got a chair, I can hold on to the chair, or I can rest my hands on the couch. The hip is going to want to turn open. Let's keep both hips squared to the mat. So this right hip needs to turn down towards the floor. Let's activate this lifted leg. The more activity, so hugging skin to muscle, muscle to bone. See, this leg is just kind of dangling there, but when we really activate this leg, it gets lighter. We get more buoyant. So using something for balance if we need to. We can remove our hands to play with balance if we'd like. Hands can be on hips or arms out to the sides, or even arms forward, last breath. Good, and then hands to the hips, foot to the ground, pressing through the legs, rising. Whew, that was a big one, huh? So let's make our way into mountain pose or Samasthiti with the hands at heart center. Breathing. Good work. Blinking the eyes open when we're ready. We've got a second side. Aren't you happy? Aren't you just thrilled? We've got two sides to do this on. Yay. All right, so hands on hips to start. Nice long body. Rib cage in, tailbone down. Exhaling, folding halfway. When we're ready, maybe hands to our chair or hands to the couch, and then sweeping the left leg up and behind us. Whoa, I'm falling over here. And then watch this hip. It's going to want to turn open. Turn it down towards the floor. Activate this leg. Super strong leg, just like when we were on our backs when we first started practice. Remember, we are spreading the toes, pressing through the foot, getting a nice long leg. Let's do that here. Last breath, maybe arms out, maybe arms forward for a breath. And then foot down, press through the feet to rise. Good work. We'll find mountain for a moment, closing the eyes, noticing the breath, noticing sensation. And let's take a cleansing breath in through the nose, filling up. Open mouth, exhale. Letting it go. Good work, everyone. Beautiful job. Okay, so we're going to make our way back down onto the floor. So if you want to just come down to the mat in a way that makes sense to you, please do. If you want to go through downward facing dog, let's sweep the arms around and up. Exhale, arms out to the sides, hinge at the hip crease, hands on the mat, stepping back into downward facing dog. And then we can bend the knees and come into a seated position on the mat. So we're going to multitask this next one a little bit. Another little hip opener for us. This one will be more of an outer hip opener. If sitting in, so this is Sukhasana. If sitting in Sukhasana is already giving you an opening sensation in the outer hips, cool, stay here. Just so that we're all kind of on the same page, let's take the right foot in front. So we'll have the right foot in front if we're in Sukhasana. If we're feeling adventurous today, we can move a little bit more towards fire log pose. So for fire log, we're going to take the left leg sort of parallel to the front edge of our mat, and then we'll take the right leg on top so that the right ankle is above the left knee, the right knee is above the left ankle. This is a great place for bricks. Notice if your knee is popping way up, you can support it by stacking some bricks underneath, okay? We really want to protect the knee in this posture, in every posture, but especially in this one. Let's spread the toes on both feet. So the sickling action of the ankle where it kind of collapses in happens naturally. So let's press a little bit more through the big toe mound. And then if we need support, we've still got it. So listening to the knees. If our outer hips are already on fire, then we know why it's called fire log pose. If we need more, we can take the hands out in front and maybe fold in. So if we're folded, we'll stay there for just another breath or two. If we're already seated upright, let's just stay there. We're gonna add on to this posture today. So as we're breathing into our hips, we're gonna practice another energy tool. This one is known as the crown pull. Pull, P-U-L-L. This is another really great way to kind of calm the mind and release overwhelming thoughts or racing thoughts or that monkey mind. So let's take our hands with the thumbs at the temple. Just kidding, I had to do it, sorry. Okay, thumbs at the temple. And then we're gonna curl the fingers in so that they're at the midline, and the pinky is gonna be kind of down there at our third eye center. And then from here, we're just gonna gently pull the fingers apart to the temple. And then we'll come up to the hairline and we'll pull apart down to the temple. And then let's come to the top of the head and pull the fingers apart. And then towards the very top, kind of back of the head, and pull it apart. And then all the way to the back of the head and pull it apart. Good, and then release. Beautiful. So let's move the brick out from underneath us if we have it. If we're in fire log, we're gonna lift up the right leg and release it carefully to the floor. If we were in Sukhasana, we'll just unwind the leg. Let's all extend the legs forward and we'll just give them a little shake. Good. So I'll turn around to the back for a moment just so you can see. When we get around to the top, we're pulling here and then here and then, here, wherever. So we're just going all the way to the base of the kind of the hairline, the base of the skull. Okay. So there's a fissure or a like a little teeny tiny gap in between the hemispheres of the brain. And this pulling, this very gentle, there's hardly any pressure at all. It's almost like you are just lightly running your fingers across your skin. It just helps to create microscopic space in that connection between the right and the left hemispheres. So we have a second side, yay. If we're gonna be in Sukhasana, let's be in Sukhasana, left leg forward. Maybe we fold in a little bit just from here, just to target that outer hip a bit. If we're exploring fire log, we'll take the right leg parallel to the edge of the mat. Let's spread the toes, press to the ball mound of the big toe. And then the left leg comes on top this time. So we really wanna work towards ankle to knee, knee to ankle. If we need bricks or books, we can grab them. Tools are our friend. Props are our friend. There's no shame in using a prop. The prop just safely helps us get into a deeper expression of the pose. Maybe we don't need a deeper expression. Maybe we're already feeling enough just in Sukhasana. If we're in fire log, let's take a little bit of energy into the big toe mound of the left leg. Maybe we fold forward for a couple of breaths, breathing into the outer hip here. And then if we're folded in, let's walk up a bit so that we can repeat our crown pull on the second side. So we'll take the thumbs into the temples again, fold the fingers in, and then eyes can be opened or closed, it's up to you. Just gently pulling them apart. And then resetting, making our way up towards the crown of the head. Let's see if we can keep the spine long even as we do this. Just gently pulling apart, Making our way up to the top, maybe towards the back, and gently pulling until we get all the way down to the base of the skull and just gently pull. Good. When we're done, we can release our hands. Maybe the eyes are opened, maybe they're closed, as we sit for one more breath in whatever expression of our outer hip opener we've chosen. And then we'll blink the eyes open. If they were closed, let's release any props that might be in use at this moment, and then we'll take our hands underneath the left leg, gently release. Let's unfold the legs, extend them forward, and just give a gentle shake. Good. Releasing the legs. We can point and flex the toes here a couple of times. Maybe making some circles. Excellent work. All right, good job. So let's go ahead and come onto our back once again. And before we get there, we're gonna just make our way, let's start in a seated position for a moment with the feet on the floor. We'll hold on behind the legs, scooping the tailbone under, shoulders down, heart lifted. Let's come into boat pose. So taking the feet up, spreading the toes, heart stays lifted, shoulders stay down, challenging our core a little bit here. Good, and then let's release the feet down to the mat. Beautiful job. We'll just do one today. Let's extend the arms forward, scoop the tail, tuck the chin, and then roll down one vertebra at a time. The more we can keep our chin tucked, the slightly easier it is as we move into our mid-back, upper back, and then finally the shoulders and the head are the last things to touch. Good work. Let's hug the knees in towards the chest. We'll hold behind the legs, just rocking gently from side to side. And let's go ahead and release the feet to the floor once again. We'll bump the hips over towards the right side a little bit. Let's take the arms out in a T position. And then drop the knees over towards the left. We might need to scooch the left shoulder blade out from underneath us. Let's see if we can stack the hips. And then if we want to complete the twist, we can take our gaze over our right hand. So just a gentle spinal twist to realign the spine. Our drishti, our focal point, is the space between the eyes. Once again, if the eyes are closed. If the eyes are open, maybe we take an external drishti somewhere on the wall in front of us with a soft gaze. And then let's bring the head back to neutral. We'll engage the core and use the core strength to draw the knees back to center. We might need to reposition the hips. Let's draw the knees in. We'll keep the arms out. Let's spread the toes and then drop the knees over towards the left, maybe halfway, maybe 3/4, and then let's come back. And then keep hugging the knees in as we take the knees over towards the right and then back towards center. One more time on each side, over towards the left, the right shoulder stays down, and then back up. And second side. Good, beautiful work. Let's release the feet. We'll bump the hips over towards the left and then drop the knees over towards the right. Let's stack the hips as best as we can. Shoulders down, and then if we want to finish off that twist, we can turn our gaze over towards the left. Eyes might be open, eyes might be closed. Where are we focusing? Letting go of the mind. Just resting our awareness on the breath and the sensations that we notice in the body. And then let's bring our head back to neutral. We'll use our core to pull the legs back up. Let's bring the feet down, reposition the hips. And then one more time on the core work. So we'll hug our knees in. This time, let's go to the right side first. Halfway or 3/4, and then back to center. And then over towards the left. Let's see if we can keep the right shoulder down and back up. And then one more. Knees hug in, super close, and then over towards the right. Left shoulder pinned to the mat. Back up, and last one. Over to the left, using the core, and back to center. Beautiful job. Any modified inversion that we'd like. We can extend the legs into the sky, just leave the legs long, or maybe we come into happy baby, holding the outer edges of our feet. We can rock gently here if we'd like. If we prefer, we can even take our hips to the wall and take the legs up the wall and just let the wall hold our legs for a little bit. If we want to end practice that way, we can. But we'll just be in a gentle inversion for the next couple of breaths, cooling the body down. And as we do so, let's shift the breath so that the exhale is a little bit longer than the inhale. If we are a counter, if we like to count, maybe we count up to 4 on the inhale and up to 6 or 8 on the exhale. If we don't want to count, we can just use our intuition and intention to gently invite a longer exhale, helping to calm the nervous system, helping to cool the body down. When the body is cool, the mind has an easier time of focusing and letting go of excess thoughts. And if we'd like, we can find that mudra one more time, taking the hands together, interlacing them, extending the index fingers, and then we can soften the shoulders down towards the mat and point our fingers towards our feet in a gesture of releasing. Maybe we bend the knees, bring the feet down, and we can take that gesture towards the floor, towards the feet as well. Softening the shoulders, taking any extra effort out of the upper body, and just pointing the fingers, the index fingers towards the feet in a gesture of letting go. And then when we're ready, let's release even the hands, rolling the shoulder blades under a little bit more, making ourselves nice and comfy and cozy so that we can fully release and relax in Shavasana. Softening the eyes. Let's take one final cleansing breath, breathing in through the nose, filling up. Soft, open mouth exhale. Yoga is not about touching your toes. Yoga is about what you learn on the way down. Just taking the next few moments to be in Shavasana, letting go. There's nothing left to do. Now it is time to just be. If you wish to remain in your Shavasana for longer, please do. If you are ready to bring your practice to completion, please begin to deepen the breath. Noticing this inner calm and inner stillness, and maintaining that to the best of your ability as you begin to whisper gentle movement into fingers and toes. When you're ready, maybe circling wrists and ankles, or maybe even exploring a full body stretch, taking the arms overhead, the feet forward, lengthening the body, waking up to this new way of being. And then rolling over to one side, pausing here for a breath. With as little effort as possible, making your way back up into seated position, softening the eyes as we sit tall with a straight spine. Let's unite the hands together in front of the heart space, bowing the chin towards the chest in a symbol of gratitude for this opportunity to move our bodies, to be on our mat, to practice in community as best we possibly can. May our yoga practice be an opportunity for us to be with our mind without judgment, without expectation, and just simply let go. Let the mind release and practice bringing our focus back to the breath, back to the body, letting the mind and the thoughts gently blow by as if they were clouds in the wind. Thank you so much for coming to practice today. Thank you for practicing yoga. Namaste. Great job. Thank you so much. My name is Melaminah. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or interpretive dances, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, or you can reach out to me at melaminah.com. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing to this channel. And if you feel called to make a donation for the practice today, you can do so at my website, melaminah.com. There's a Donate Now button in the upper right-hand corner. Just go ahead and click on that and give whatever feels good to you. Until next time, thanks so much.